Hey guys, welcome to Kid Missing TV. I have an extras video for you. I discovered something that's going to benefit the channel and is also terribly interesting. There is a website, YouTube channel, podcast called Unsolved Worcester. Worcester is the county. It's also the city that is the county seat of the county where I live in Massachusetts. I live in what's called Southern Worcester County. Worcester County is the largest county in the state and is divided in half because it is so large into Southern Worcester County and Northern Worcester County. Literally on the map, when you see the counties, it's split in half because it's so big. You know, for records purposes, like land records, they don't have one Worcester County like log. They have Northern and Southern because it's so big. It actually is the entire middle of the state from north to south and about halfway across. So you have the state of Massachusetts and you have Worcester County. So it's big. And Worcester is the third largest city in New England, the second largest city in Massachusetts behind Boston. I believe the other city in New England that's bigger is Hartford. So, just to give you kind of an idea. And I found a case, which I immediately sent to my friend, that is literally from right down the street from me. Next town over, but literally right down the street. In Uxbridge, which is literally the next town over. It's literally, if you've seen on the other channel where I walk down, there's a convenience store down by the mill, and I walk down to the mill where my father worked, and it's like across the street. That convenience store is the beginning of Uxbridge. The road where she was found is literally right there. A girl was murdered, stabbed to death, put in a suitcase, not a suitcase, into a sleeping bag and dropped on the side of what's called Chocolog Road, which is the exit to get here. Chocolog Road. Actually, that's the Uxbridge exit, but you could get here that way too. It's right there. How did I not know about that? I was 15 when it happened. It was 1989. It's like, huh? What? My friend knew about it because she was working in Uxbridge at the time, and her stepfather was very worried about her walking from Rockdale in Northbridge all the way to Victory Supermarket in Uxbridge, which, the miles, that's probably 5 or 6 miles. Let me see if I can find out, guys. Okay, from Rockdale, Mass. to Hannaford's. Okay, Rockdale, Mass. to Hannaford, Uxbridge, Mass. Okay, let's see what the distance is. No, not New Bedford, you moron. Ugh. L.E. Northbridge. Okay. Go. Well. Okay. Go. Okay. It is. It's 5.7 miles. I was very close. So to walk it, it's 2 hours and 2 minutes, approximately. So I was right. I said 5 or 6 miles. It's right in between. It's 5.7, so it's a little over 5.5, almost 6. So I actually estimated that pretty doggone well. And he was very worried about her walking that walk. In fact, our youth pastor picked her up until her mother said, "You will not pick her up." Excuse me? The child is walking almost 6 miles on a highway. Well, part of it's on a highway called Route 122. I mean, it's not 146, which you're not allowed to walk on. She wouldn't have had to walk on 146, though, because she would have walked straight through past the fair. She would have walked straight through Plumber's Corner into Uxbridge and down 122. So the youth pastor would pick her up when she got to 122 and take her the rest of the way, because he lived right there. And her mother told him, "You will not pick her up," because she found out about it. And if I'm him, I'm saying, well, I'm either picking her up or I'm calling Child Protective Services, because you're not making this child walk 5.7 miles to a job at a supermarket. I'm sorry, or anywhere else. So, at 16 years old. Not that that has anything to do with Unsolved Worcester, but the point of it being, he was very worried because of the case of the girl who had been left in the sleeping bag on the side of Chocolog Road. Which, like I said, is the exits are right down the road. I could walk to the exit, easily, although you're not allowed to walk on 146. But all I would have to do is walk down our on-ramp and walk down like 1 or 2 exits, and it's right there. And you go off that exit, there's Chocolog Road, and there she was. So I'm going to do some research on that one, because there will be an upcoming video about that case. Not in July, because July is completely written and ready to go. Finished it last night. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so that Unsolved Worcester, I will put their website and their YouTube channel in the links of this video. I wanted to get that out to you because it was important to me, because it's local for me. And they have a lot of cases from all over the county. They're not just doing the city, it's all over the county. So, this thing itches terribly. Anyway, so yeah. It's, I was very excited to find the page. By the way, the date that we have set for the Andrew Amato podcast will be the anniversary of his disappearance in September. Gives us both time to stoop around and not snoop. It sounded like stoop, but I said snoop online and stuff, and try to find more information. I'm actually going to go over to Web Sleuths, see what kind of a thread they have about him, see what kind of articles they have up and things like that, because there are some locals on there. But yeah, I can't believe I was looking for Unsolved, and it popped up on my YouTube, and I'm like, Unsolved Worcester? And the first thing that I'm thinking is, okay, is this as in England? This can't be local. And it was. So I clicked on their website, which is at the top of the YouTube channel, of course. And they've got 6 seasons of their podcast. Where in the world have I been? I've only been doing this for how many years? So, yeah. Definitely check it out. I want everyone to know about it. I am going to post it on my Facebook. I'm going to post it on my Instagram, my Twitter, everywhere. Well, it'll be on my Twitter because this video will get posted there, but I want that everywhere so people here know. And I was talking to my friend today who's older than me. She didn't remember that either. She would have been a grown-up. Let's see, if I was 15, she was 24, 25 years old. So I don't know how much, what do you call it? How much publicity it actually got. Also, on the Andrew case, because that goes along with Unsolved Worcester, I did learn that my dear friend's husband, who is very ill, was also on the search team for Andrew Amato. So that's pretty special to me, personally. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Thank you to all those who search for our missing. All those who have a heart like Barry. That's just, and my guest's mom, Corey's mom. And several other people who wrote in our group that they had helped search. It warms my heart, it really does. That's what this county was about back then. A bunch of close-knit small towns where everybody knew everybody. And, if you lived in a neighborhood like I grew up in, literally in the summertime when you were out playing, everybody's door was open and their screen doors were closed. All you had to do is run in the nearest apartment, your nearest friend's apartment, go pee. You didn't have to go all the way back to your house if you didn't want to. That's just the way it was. And if you were going to go play in your friend's apartment for a little while because it was getting hot, you just run home and say, Mom, or they'll call over and say, yeah, she's in my apartment. Yeah, whatever. That's just the way it was. Today, it isn't that way. And it's sad. Kids are missing out on a sense of community, which we had here. And, and it didn't mean bad things didn't happen. Clearly they did. But it just meant if you lived in a community that watched out for you, that was a wonderful thing back then. So, guys, I truly hope that you grew up that way. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for listening to me talk to you about Unsolved Worcester. And yes, that is how it's pronounced, Worcester. Some people say Worcester, but there's no I, it's Worcester. Or some people say Worcester or Worcester. There's no H. It's not Chester. I can see where they get Worcester from, but it's Worcester, just like it is in England. So, but it happened right here, not only in Worcester County, but right here in the Blackstone Valley. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen here, but this quiet little valley usually doesn't have a whole lot of news. There was a kid who was found in the Blackstone River behind the laundromat. I remember that. It was around the same time. He was a Hispanic boy. And he was killed and dumped in the river. There was a high Hispanic population in the particular town where he was dumped, where he was from. But so it wasn't unusual. It wasn't like, because you think of, most people think of, who live here, think of this area as predominantly white. And it is. This entire valley is really. Well, I can't say the entire valley because Worcester's part of the valley. But most of the small towns in the Blackstone Valley are predominantly white. Worcester has a good mix of all sorts, which you would expect in a large city. All sorts of peoples, whether they be black, Hispanic, people from all kinds of other places. But here, it's predominantly white. In most of the small towns. It's changing, but that's the way it is, So some people would look twice, at me saying there was a Hispanic young man found. Well, yeah, actually he was a teenager. There was a significant, for whatever, maybe because that was a transient town, in that particular town, in the town of Northbridge, or Whitensville. I don't know if there still is, but there was then. We have one family in this town that is Hispanic. We do have some African Americans. We used to have one family. Literally one family. But like I said, it is changing. But it doesn't matter if it changes, So many people are, Archie Bunker. I want them living in my neighborhood. Why? Why would the color of someone's skin devalue your house values? I don't know. I don't understand that. I never did. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised that you look at the person and determine whether you like that person by what's inside of them. Not the paint job God gave them, So, that's my opinion. But I was raised in a different place, And a different time. And my father was raised in a very different time, because he was raised in the 50s and 60s. And I asked him about, because he was old enough to remember the civil rights movement and all of that. He said, oh, there were problems in Boston. He said, but around here, we didn't feel the effects of it because there really weren't any African Americans around here. But that's probably why. But he said, we didn't really feel the effects of it here. In Boston, they definitely were having issues at the time. You remembered that, from the news and stuff. He said, and they probably were in Worcester too, because whenever you have a diverse population, especially when something like that is happening, forget it, So, and by the way, if you're interested in the history of the civil rights movement, there's a great many-part documentary series from PBS called Eyes on the Prize. Love the song, too. And I definitely recommend it. Again, has nothing to do with the topic, but, except that we were talking about another case out of the Worcester County area, so I guess it does. Anyway, Unsolved Worcester. Can you tell I'm excited about it? I've just ranted about it for 19 minutes. But anyway, I will see you next time. God bless you. And we're going to get this up along with John Doe 24 and the updates for the month. So you're going to have 3 videos today. So, bye guys.